Hey guys, Josh and Brent back for another episode of BJ on Game Day. Bit of a better week last week. We had a few guys turn up and things like that. So the BJ on Game Day League, went okay. We've slipped down on the ranks a little bit. We're down to about 400. But a couple of the guys have come good. Cam Coxall continues on leading. He scored 1115 last week. Wayne with Hell's Granny's come good. So he's jumped up into second. We've had a few positional changes in the league. So how'd you go, buddy?
Wayno top scored as well, 1139 last week, so good score, Wayno. For me, I finally cracked the 1,000 again, 1084, hallelujah. I think it was a late change. I ended up putting for feeder as captain Ard Harris, and that was the first good captain I've hit all year. Broke the drought of the thousands. It wasn't the best score, but I'll take it after a tough month.
Stayed in the 5,000, mate?
Yeah, I think 60 odd positional change in the rankings, so just stayed there, happy enough with that. Still in the top 5,000. What about you?
Mate, even 1100, so it wasn't too bad, it was pretty good. Captain choice hurt me. I had Cameron Smith, so really good week actually. I had, Ewan Aitken and Fafita go well. Damien Cook went well, so yeah, it was just a bit unfortunate that I captained Smith, but I bought him to keep him till the end. He's obviously had his worst season so far in Supercoach ever, but I'm hoping he comes good.
And he's insanely cheap at the moment, mate. Like after that score on the weekend, he's cheap again. It's insane.
I think, and looking out there, obviously, if you talk about buy holds and sells and things like that, you've got to look at getting him in. Obviously, maybe not until after round 13, but if he bangs out a couple of hundreds in a row in between now and then, all of a sudden he's back up to 700k. So hey, it's one of those do use, don't use, but I got him in last week, happy to have him there.
Yeah, the question is maybe you don't even get him after 13, you might wait till Origin's over and reassess, depending on who you've got in those hooker positions.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, well obviously Cook continues to fire. We've both had him since the start of the season, so he's had almost a 300,000 jump up in price. And yeah, as long as he keeps playing 80 minutes for the Bunnies, he looks pretty good. I'm praying that he doesn't get picked for Origin. It's obviously one of the most contentious spots for New South Wales at the moment, is that hooking role. But yeah, fingers crossed he doesn't.
I think, and we'll touch on it, we'll talk a little bit about buys tonight, but it's an interesting one where, it's likely Cook will get picked, and you've got someone like, I've got Coruscant, and there's no point, I can't trade Coruscant out for Smith now because I've got Corro for 13. Yeah. And as much as I'd love to do it, I just can't do it. I can't even consider it till after 13. So we'll have to see what happens. All
right, let's touch on the buys now. Round 13 and 17. Obviously, they're split into two buys, 8 teams in each round. Can you realistically have a full 17, an effective full 17 for both rounds? Do you think?
Yeah, well, I've had a bit of a think about it today. I've written a bit of stuff on my phone, which I'll refer to. So, I guess if you do try and assume or think that you're going to have 17 players in round 13, and that's your first bye round this season, only the 2 bye rounds, that means of your 25-man squad, at best, you'll have 8 guys that will play 17. So, you've got 17 playing in round 13, 8 of those potentially can play in round 17.
Yep.
That's not counting Origin players and NPRs, non-playing reserves. So you might have a few nufties like, I've got Lomax, guys like that. So that's a best case scenario. At the end of round 13 to the commencement of round 17, you'll get 11 trades. So say you do have that, theoretically you have the 8 players that will play 17. That means 9 of those 11 trades have to be players that are playing in round 17.
Yep.
Of guys that are from your squad in round 13. I know it's sounding a bit probably confusing.
No, full.
But it means you start making a lot of trades that you might not want to. And I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot of teams that want to make that many trades between round 13 and 17, because I can guarantee you there's going to be a heap of guys in round 13 that will play that you're going to want to have as keepers. And I reckon of the 2 bye rounds, there's more keepers in that'll play around 13 than there is in round 17. I've had a good look, and I think you're going to have a heap more guys that you're going to keep play 13, which means you maybe have to take a hit in 17. But I know the preference would be take it in 13 and have that team ready for the run home. Have the guys that are going to play 17.
Yeah, look, I mean, the trades are essential. We're all, I mean, I've used a lot of trades. I love my trades. So getting to round 13 and 17, I'm trying to think. I'm probably looking at 14 players. I'm aiming for 14 players in that round 13. I'm looking at quality over quantity at the moment. But looking at those guns, like your Fafitas, your Lolos, one guy I'm looking at getting in the next few weeks is Tapau. Obviously, he's had a bit of a spike in form. Plays that round 13. So, yeah, I'll be looking at him. But then I'm wondering, well, what do I do for round 17? So I'm thinking if I can just get those keepers in there and just struggle by with 13 or 14 players and hope that they perform in that week, rather than bring in some second stringers, waste trades, maybe they only bang out a 30 or a 40, and all of a sudden the points are lost for overall.
Yeah, and I guess you got to consider, have you been trading every week now? You're probably going to be making a few trades over the next few weeks to bring guys in that'll play 13, and then they're going to be the guys you probably look to trade out to have guys playing 17. So you sort of you start to burn trades a lot. Then you also got to consider, well, how many trades do you want for the run home from round 18 onwards?
Yeah.
Say you take the hit in 17 and you just trade, and maybe you have 10 or 8 trades left for the run home, and you think, I only want to bring 2 or 3 guys in for my final squad. Are you happy to sit on 8 or 6 trades for the last sort of 7-8 rounds? Maybe you are. And also positionally wise, like if you've got, say, Teddy and Turbo at fullback or Cook and Smith at hooker, are you really going to be trading those guys out?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm considering Teddy to Ponga, but that's just to play 13, and then Ponga won't play 17. But if I make that trade, I'm probably not going to bring Teddy back in.
Yeah.
And they're not going to play either of those.
Then do you consider that a sideways trade? Because obviously Teddy hasn't been lighting it up, but we know the quality of player that he is. Do you look at that and think, can Ponga keep it up with what he's doing? Who knows?
But then the issue is, if you've got such an important position such as fullback, where if someone picks up a Tuivasa-Sheck for 17 and you don't even have a fullback playing, and they go a couple pods, they could hurt you those rounds. So obviously this is for overall players. If you're a head-to-head player, you probably don't. You just take the hit. You don't worry too much about it. Overall, in my opinion, I reckon, as you said, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
You probably, realistically, I reckon maybe 14 or 15 is a better number. Just because, 15 probably better, maybe 16, because it's just a few less trades you have to burn. Trying to get those numbers. Firstly, getting to round 13, having that many. Yeah. And then secondly, from round 13 to 17, if you're trying to have 15, it's a few less trades you have to make. And you do want to save some trades for the run home. So
the other thing I'm struggling with is the uncertainty behind who's going to get picked for Origin. We've obviously seen a few Queenslanders who are retired. There's a few injuries around. And for New South Wales, there's a few guys emerging as potential players. Biggest concern for me is probably Ewan Aitken and Damien Cook. Now, both I've had from the start of the season. They've performed brilliantly. I've been happy with both. There's talk, Joey's a big fan of Ewan Aitken getting the spot, and he wouldn't look out of place in it. But I'm counting on him not being there, and if he does, it's going to hurt. Yeah,
and I think we're in for a big shake-up with Freddie being named as the coach, and they need some new blood in there. So, there's talk Adokar, Aitken. I don't know what's going on with Dugan. If he's injured, maybe we're looking at Latrell Mitchell, James Roberts. I don't know. We just don't know. This year has been the biggest uncertainty. I've heard Cook, Coruscant, McInnes.
Yep.
They might go Cook, McInnes off the bench, something like that. So it's really unpredictable. Some guys that I also think, maybe Nathan Brown. I've been a fan all year. Maybe this injury's just coming at a bad time. There's rumours Clint Gutherson could still get picked, and he'd be on my buy list in the next few weeks. Yeah. But there's rumours around that he might get picked, so it makes it hard. Paul Vaughan, after 13, he'd maybe be a guy you could potentially bring in, maybe. But I think there's a chance maybe he gets named as a prop.
Touching on Gutho, I watched that Parramatta game last week because they played Cronulla, and I've never seen a bloke more passionate on the field. He just wants to play. He wants to win so bad he is trying to drag that team up, and he's doing a hell of a job. So I think he's definitely going to be a pod coming into the run home of the season, just because he just wants it so bad.
Yeah, and last year he was that guy. He just wants the ball. He's involved in everything. He sniffs around, and he's like you see him on the weekend firing them up. And apparently got home in that game.
Yeah.
They finished strong, and every time there was a stoppage,
my heart's still racing from that game.
Every time there was a stoppage in play, it was Gutherson. You could hear him ripping into him, like firing them up and that sort of thing. He wouldn't be out of place in that Origin domain.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting for Supercoach wise.
It's touch and go, obviously, for him and Makey. There's talk about it, but he would be an outside shot for that team, I think.
Yeah.
Players like him, Cody Walker, they're the kinds of players I'd be looking at getting in for 13.
Yeah.
You talked about Kalen Ponga. There are a few pods out there that you can get in for 13, provided, obviously, they don't get selected for Origin.
Yeah, and I think... Again, it's just going to be one of those things. You're going to try and bring all these guys in for around 13, and I think you want to think about, well, do I want to keep them for the run home now? Because they're not going to play 17, obviously.
Yep.
And if you're not going to keep them until the end, well, you've got to think it's probably 2 trades. You're going to bring them in and then trade them out again.
Yep.
So you've got to start thinking about that. Have a think about who's your ideal squad for the run home now, and make trades according to that. I reckon even if you have 13 or 14 playing around 17, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a heap of guys we just don't know whether they're going to get picked. Some of the players you could look to bring in for round 13 and make a little bit of a list. So obviously, I think for Feeder's a must.
Yep.
If you haven't got him, get him in. Taumalolo, Burgess. I think Cody Walker's one you want to look at. I'm going to rub off a few here. Kalen Ponga, Latrell Mitchell, Madison, Isan Masters, probably Mahe Fanua.
Yep.
And you probably want to get on him this week.
Yeah, he's the buy of the week, Mahe Fanua for mine. There's a few cheapies coming up next week. For this week, definitely Mahe. I brought him in last week. Obviously, people have been burned a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Payne Haas, Scott Sorensen, bringing people in too early and things like that. These guys have copped injuries. But the reason I brought Mahe in a week early last week is because he just looks like a beast. We talked about it on the podcast last week. And he held up to that form. That try he scored in the corner, going over the top of Fusatu'a was unbelievable. There was no chance I backed him in to get that ball down. That was massive. Really impressive. So, he's one you've got to have in this week if you're looking to trade in a centre 3/4.
I think you do it on the hairstyle alone. I love it.
Beautiful.
So I'll just finish off this list of guys you could probably bring in. I think DCE won't get picked now.
Yep.
I think there's too many other guys in form. I think the rumours are Munster, Morgan, Hunt. They're the guys I'll have their eyes on. So I think you can bring DC in without too much consequence. That's just my opinion. Coruscant at hooker, Marty Tapau, as you touched on. Corey Norman is a bit of a pod. Obviously, he's probably not going to be in the thing, and he's hit a bit of form, but I'm a big fan of Corey Norman. Mitch Moses, JT if you haven't got him, Angus Crichton, maybe Dylan Walker. So there's a few names if you're thinking about it. But
talk to me about Angus Crichton. He has signed with the Roosters for 2019. His form this season is nowhere near up to what it was last year. He's still been solid, but he's gone through that sort of breakout season. He's not mentioned as much anymore. Potential pod?
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of Angus Crichton, and he obviously isn't the same guy that he was last year. I don't know if maybe he's just on the radar a bit more.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't know if maybe he's lost a little bit of motivation. He's just, I don't know. He doesn't seem to be the same guy. He's still doing a lot, and he is a good player. But I'm not sure. I still think that South side's gathering a heap of momentum.
They look good.
They have so much strike across the park, and he'll be like a vital part of them doing well still. But I think he's a great pod, great pickup. There's probably a heap of people that still have him. If his price is right, I think he's a good pickup.
Yep.
And potentially a keeper for the run home. He still hasn't scored any pie. He hasn't bagged any meat pies really this season.
That's
which is what he was
difference.
doing last year. He was scoring some unreal tries. So he's still getting about that 60 average maybe from off the top of my head. But big fan. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's lost a little bit with the finger. He's just
a bit of touch. Yeah.
So there are a few guys you could probably pick up in before round 13. Around 10 this week, 11, 12, 13. So you have 8 trades you could make between now and then.
Yeah.
And you've got to make them good ones.
How many players you got currently set for 13?
Oh, well, I mean,
Let's forget the maybe Origin players. We've got to expect Turbo and Teddy are there.
Yeah, so, but do I assume Nathan Brown will play 13?
Yeah, I think he'll be back by then, and I don't think he's had the form to get picked for Origin. So yeah, I'm assuming he would.
I haven't actually counted exactly at the moment. I think I'm around 11 or 12.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I'm about that. I've held Kenner. I'm not sure, like if he's out in 13, he'll be a trade in 13, or maybe before that if it's guaranteed. But there's a few guys there I'm not sure about. I'm hoping Katoa can somehow find his way into a jersey for the Sharks.
Right.
Cause
he's still sitting on my bench.
But there's a few guys that just won't play. So yeah, it's interesting. And then there's guys coming up that are cheapies like Reece Martin, Tyrone Phillips for the Panthers.
Yep.
Who they're going to be unreal cheapies. It looks like next week. And they're not going to play 13.
Yeah.
So they're going to be some interesting trades to have to think about making.
And what you've got to think there is if you do trade them in for the money grab, potentially you'd want them to play 17. If you're going to miss 13, you want them to play 17. Do they have the job security the last 8 weeks in the NRL? I'm not too sure.
I mean, Phillips maybe because Edwards is out long term.
Yep.
Maybe he keeps that spot. He seems like, he's a good footy player coming over from the Dogs. We've seen a bit of him. Reece Martin, I'm not sure. He's come out of nowhere. PNG lad.
Didn't even know who he was when he played last week. Yeah.
Played 80 last week. Scored a try. Got 79, 80 points. He's shifted the lock this week.
Yep.
So they moved him from the edge into the middle. I'm not sure. He'll be a wait and see what happens there with his minutes and that sort of thing. But I still think if people are going to need a cash grab, he's going to be a good one. So
one player I want to talk about. Obviously, we're talking about the buys, but I want to move away from that. Injury-wise for Sean Johnson. Now, we don't have him. You got rid of him a bit earlier in the season. They don't play round 13, but he's by far the best halfback, and every time he's on the field, he looks dangerous. The way he ran them around the park, I mean, Blake Green is orchestrating beautifully, but they can't do without him.
Well, there was a try he scored on the weekend. It was one of the tries of the season.
Yeah.
Where he's taking the ball down the short side. He's gone to Hiku back to him, and they scored. And yeah, I mean, I traded him out. Wasn't a rage trade. It was like a trigger happy.
Yeah.
Or was it an impulse trade? I can't remember what we called it, but just because of the niggle of the injury, and I've kicked myself ever since because he's produced when he has played. The problem is he hasn't played every week.
Well, he's missed 4 games.
And to me, it justifies a little bit of what I did. I know DC hasn't produced every week, but it makes me feel a little bit better about making that trade.
Yep.
Because he's a guy ever since I'm thinking I need to get back in as soon as I can because he's you have to have him, I think, post round 13. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't want to spread rumours or anything like that, but there was I saw a post and I can't recall where it was that he had some sort of drinking problem.
Okay.
It could have been nothing. I can't remember where it was. It might have got deleted now. So, I mean, I don't know what to believe, and I don't know what's going on. How can you have a niggle every second, third week? Like, I'm not spreading rumours or defaming.
The Warriors have just got me dumbfounded. Like how Isaac Luke played last week after that injury against Melbourne. He dislocates his shoulder and pops it back in himself on the field last week, and he's named again. Like they're two what looked like season-ending injuries, and they name him. Like, I don't know.
McCulloch. These guys, are they on the peptide? Like, where's Dank gone?
Where is he?
Oh man, it's absolutely crazy. And I don't know. And SJ, I mean, it's a pain because now that I don't have him, I'm like, thank God he's out. But he's so high on my list of guys I need to bring back in. But once he's fit, man, he's the number one guy. I have to have him.
Let's talk about trades. What are you thinking this week?
Yeah, so it's a matter of like getting a bit of class into my side, and I've sort of hated not having these guys from the start. And I'm probably a few weeks too late, but I'm getting rid of Arrow.
Yep.
I've just had enough. I just can't put up with those niggly injuries that might come back, and he might be fine for the rest of the year, but I'm just not having it. He won't play 13. There's a chance you get picked for Origin if he's playing well, so he might not play 17. Arrow's gone. I'm reluctant to make the other trade of RFM, Raymond for Taylor Mara.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's been pretty consistent, but it's just a matter of the two guys I want to get in Gerbo and Lolo.
Yeah. No.
So I got cash in the bank, and
You can justify that.
I have to have those guys in. They're going to be guys that I have for the run home. I know Gerbo's not the best trade at the moment, but he's just too good. Look at what he did on the weekend, and I have to get him in, and I've got now's the time for me to pull the trigger. So that's my trades this week. I'm pretty much 100% doing those, and pretty happy with them, to be honest. Yeah,
mate. Arrow as well. Look, you just he's too suspect at the moment. There's a chance that he does play Origin, misses 13. There's too many reasons there to just not have him in the team at the moment. Need to just offload him. So I'm going to bring in Sam Burgess. Sam's back this week. Yeah, look, I got rid of him I think in round 2 or 3. I wasn't happy with his start to the season, but despite the judiciary indiscretions, I'm pretty happy to get Burgess back in there and just keep him till the end. Plays round 13, which gives me another head, and we'll see how he goes. At the moment, look, I love my trades, and I'm really wanting to trade a second one. I'm toying with Campbell Graham for South. I'm actually a big Campbell Graham fan. Last year, he played, I think, the final 5-6 games of the season. Didn't do anything. I think he averaged about 20-25. It wasn't much, but I just like the style of player that he is. I love the strike power that South have got across the park. And I think he can benefit from that. I think, obviously, we saw him score a try last week. Look, he's one I'm looking at getting in. I'd probably get rid of Christian Crichton to do it. Crichton, look, he's just too quiet at Penrith. Penrith have been, plagued by injuries, and I think that's just affecting their attack. They're still performing well, but I just don't think those backline movements are there at the moment with the personnel they've got missing. So that may be the second one. I will probably just stick with the one trade this week. Again, Campbell Graham, he doesn't upgrade until next week. This is only his second week, so I might hold off. He may be one of the cheapies that I bring in next week. Yeah,
I think with that one, and I'd mention it too, it's just he's got Kenner's spot, so he's outside Gagai there, and he does look good. He looks like a big rangy, tall, pacey thing, like an awkward thing to bring down. I guess the risks are you want him to play 13, because if he doesn't, he's probably a little bit filthy. And Kenner's a bit, they reckon it's going to be post round 13, but who knows with injuries. But if the price is right, he's a good little
207k.
I mean, if he can barrack, is it his third game this week or second?
No, second game this week. So you got one more week on him if you're even looking at him.
Yeah, you could have a look. So another one I mentioned to you, and he hasn't really set the world on fire, but I'm his biggest fan is Joey Manu.
Yeah.
So he looks like, of the two, I think he has the better security, but he hasn't done anything. But I'm a massive fan of Joey Manu. I'm waiting for him to go big and be like, damn, I knew I should have got him in. But he'll play 13. He's about 270k. He's on the wing now, but I think he's a good option as well, a separate one to Graham. So.
What about captain choices, mate? Thought about that one yet?
Not really. I think off the top of my head, who was I looking at? Who we got this week? Maybe if I'm bringing in Lolo, I'd have to fancy him as a vice on the Thursday night. I think they play the Tigers on the Thursday.
Yeah.
Let me just bring the drop. It's been
mate, for me, I'll kick off then.
Take us away.
I'm gonna captain Munster. Melbourne up against the Titans. The Titans have been leaking a lot of points. Don't get me wrong, I think the Titans got plenty of points in them, and they can probably be a chance of beating Melbourne. But Munster is looking better and better. I think I can take a chance. I'll probably VC Lolo. That said, Lolo, I think he's a great captain option because, you look at the 80s and 90s. He's never going to give you that 120 or 140 as a VC. I mean, it might happen once a season or once every 2 seasons. So you take that risk. But, I'm just liking Munster as captain this week.
Yep. No, it sounds good, mate. I think, interestingly, that game I've just noticed is at Suncorp. There's a double header on the Saturday night. So there'll be a couple of games there. So I think the big crowd there for a lot of Melbourne fans, but also Titans. So good atmosphere, and I think some of those big game players might step up. Big fan of Munster. I think he's due for something. So and that's what you need now. You need one of those pottage captains that turn up that can be the difference now to get you some points. So.
Well, the other one I was thinking about, and I hate, again, we talk about chasing points, but do you go for Feeder to back up his 100 from last week? They play Canberra down in Canberra. Gallen's coming back, but they're still weak in the forwards that you think Fafita's probably going to pump out another 65 or 70 minutes. And he just looks good. He's offloading. That first run of the week, I don't know if you saw the game, that first run of the game last week against Parramatta from 30 metres out, I've never seen him run so hard onto a ball. So great signs there from Fafita.
Yeah, I think now you mentioned, I had a quick look. I'm probably leaning towards Fafita. I know Manly play Brisbane, so you could maybe go Turbo. That's an interesting one. But I'm leaning towards Fafita. He was disappointing against the Titans, but proved last week why he's ferocious. And I mean, I'm not really surprised. He's playing some massive minutes. And if you're watching him this weekend and he plays the first half, watch the way he lags his ass around by the end of that first. Like he's just trotting out there, not really too quick. I can't believe he's actually playing the first 40, but I mean, it's good for Supercoach, and as long as he gets that as long as he's getting that arm away with the offloads, and that was the difference. I mean,
he throws up against the Titans with the offloads. Yeah, it was a wet night.
The line break and that on the weekend, but the offloads were back, and that's the Fafita you need if you're going to captain him, and I'm backing him to do that on a dry track on Sunday.
And look, they want to do that. They want to promote the ball against the Raiders. The Raiders are suspect in defence. I think like any good team, if you just play one-out stuff, those block plays, most teams can defend that nowadays. You need the second phase play, just that bit of sort of spontaneity on the football field. And I think for Cronulla, with how strong the Raiders have been lately, they're looking better and better. Cronulla have got to do that on the weekend, so Fafita can lead the way. Yeah,
mate, that's where I'm leaning.
I want to finish off tonight. I want to give out a bag of the week, right? And it's to Tom Sangster. Now, obviously, we love doing our podcast here, and there's a few other guys out there that do them as well. Tom Sangster, everyone's expert. How the hell he keeps telling people to get Kurt Capewell into their team. Now, as a Cronulla fan, I watch my boys inside and out every week. I think Kurt Capewell is a great utility player. I think he's good, but do not get him in your team. Tommy Sangster, stop telling everyone to get him in their team. Mate, you're sending everyone on a bum steer. So, mate, if you need some help, if you need me and Brent to come in and take over your podcast so people get some good info, just let us know. And, mate, we're only a phone call away. So, mate, just, let us know. But some better tips, please, mate. Please, mate.
I know who Kurt Capewell is, but really, Supercoach-wise, who is Kurt Capewell? Like,
exactly.
What's he getting, 80 or something now? Or like,
I've got no idea.
I know he had a big score last year. Maybe that's why it was. He got 150 something last year.
They near on dropped him a week or two ago. They named him at 18, and if Wade Graham had played, well, maybe he wouldn't have got back in the side. So, Bakuya's back, Gallen's back. Mate, stop telling people to get Capewell.
You've just put yourself on those. He's got a 0 break even, 300k, and
he's
played 80 the last 2 weeks. We'll see what happens with this one next week.
I do not care. I will put my foot in my mouth if he doesn't, but I'm looking at the rest of the season. I'm looking at people who are going to generate money. Look, if you're going to go for a cash grab, you want someone who's going to make 150, 200,000. I don't want a guy who's going to go from 300,000 to 350. It's just not good enough.
They might play 30 minutes one week, depending on who comes back from injury and everything like that. No,
exactly.
Get it up your same stuff.
Yeah, that's it, mate. But that's it for this week, guys. Thanks for joining BJ on Game Day again. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. I can't say that word. Subscribe. Next week we'll run over the head-to-heads for the BJ on Game Day League, and we'll catch you all then.